Welcome back to the Market Frontlines. I'm Lindsay Malchuk. Now, if gold exploration and development in West Africa feels like the narrative everyone thinks they understand, then you better buckle up because this conversation is about cutting through all of that chaos. And sitting with me is Jared Scharf, CEO of Desert Gold, a company that isn't just talking about West Africa, but actively backing that talk with financing, fieldwork, and portfolio spanning two of the most dynamic continents on the gold belt. Jared, it's so great to have you here. I am just so excited to learn more and just to really put some more spotlight on the African continent. There's so much education needed. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Lindsay.
Now, let's get right into it with what just happened with your financing. I mean, you recently closed a sizable private placement and then accepted a late subscription on top of that, bringing important capital into Desert Gold. So given how critical funding is for juniors right now, what does the successful raise and this additional subscription say about outside confidence in your strategy and your ability to execute on the ground?
Yeah, well, closing the financing was obviously a really important step. We closed 7.2 million Canadian, which will allow us to bring the first phase of the gravity plant into production, which we expect to have it commissioned by June of this year. And that's at the project in Mali, the Senegali Mali Shear Zone project, in an area called Barani East, which is where the starter pit will be. But the funds raised will also allow us to do a first pass drill program over a really exciting prospect on our project in Côte d'Ivoire, as well as do some resource expansion drilling in Mali, and also test some exciting new targets where we've got hints of some interesting stuff with a couple of drill holes, but haven't had a chance to go back and follow up. So, we're really excited to drill all these prospects and to get the small scale production going.
Absolutely. I mean, that's huge news right out of the gate there, which leads me directly to what matters to investors beyond just the cash in the bank. Now, you're advancing a PEA on your flagship project in Mali, and that is as much about economic potential as it is about geological skill. So when you look at that practical side of the PEA, the assumptions, the project economics, and what that tells you about potential development timelines, what's one piece of that PEA that you think the market hasn't fully grasped yet?
Well, I mean, I think the PEA, first of all, the PEA only evaluated near or at surface oxide minerals. It didn't look at any of the deeper minerals in the fresh rock. So the PEA only really addressed about 10% of the resource that we have on the project now at a little around 1.3 million ounces. And really what it is for us is it just represents, low hanging fruit, free dig, open pitable oxide in one of the lowest cost jurisdictions in the world from a mining perspective. And the intention really is to use the cash flow generated from the mining to fuel the exploration. And reason being is, the project in Mali is a 440 square kilometer project. There are 30 gold zones on it. We're chasing mineralized structures that go for well over 20 kilometers. And so, a lot of work needs to be done and a lot of drilling needs to be done. And, we want to be mindful about how much dilution we take on in the market. And so we'd much rather use the cash flow from exploration to finance. And, in a perfect world, we'd be drilling 30 plus thousand meters, 30 or 50,000 meters per season at the Senegali Mali Shear Zone project alone. So regarding the PEA, the numbers are pretty convincing. And so we're just going to pursue the plan. We've already put the deposit on the plant and equipment. It should arrive at some point in the beginning of May. And pre-mining activities, pre-stripping activities have already started on site, water borehole drilling, civil works, all that stuff. So if we can stick to our timeline, which we're optimistic about, by the time the plant and equipment arrive, site prep will be fully done, and we'll be able to, like I said, start processing in June of this year.
That's some huge progress already, and that's only first quarter that we're looking at here. So what if we move away from the study then and continue on that conversation with the shovel in the ground? One of the most interesting parts of your story is the work you've been doing on a small scale mining scenario. So walk us through What's actually happening on the ground right now? Not the theory, but the day-to-day actions and decisions that will determine whether or not Desert Gold transitions from exploration into that meaningful gold production.
Well, it's a small scale mine, so the overall footprint is less than a hectare. That's obviously doesn't include the pit, but in terms of the plant, the facilities, the living quarters, and so on. So right now, what's going on is there's the Barani. We already had a permanent camp in the area for our exploration people, but obviously we need to upgrade that camp for additional staff. We need to upgrade the security, so perimeter fencing. Like I said, we need to begin ROM pad construction, water borehole drilling, pre-stripping, clearing, and then generally upgrading the plant communications, so better satellite, better internet, all these things to make sure that the operation will run efficiently. And then as for the plant and equipment, in our contract with the OEM, they actually have to deliver the plant to site and commission it. And then they'll stay on site with our team for several months and run it until our team is fully trained. And it's a gravity plant. So the PEA, and that's maybe one important distinction to make, the PEA also envisions a CIL, but we're not going to do the CIL right away. The CIL is a major CapEx component to it. And so for the moment, we're going to install the gravity portion, and the gold recoveries in gravity, as per the PEA for the detailed network we did, were 68%. And so we did the economic analysis. Anything near the current gold price, it makes money, and it makes good money. But in the long term, what we'd like to do is install the CIL on the back end, as was envisioned in the PEA, and that'll bump the recoveries up closer to 90%. And so the plan is to stockpile the ore that's treated from the gravity plant and then reprocess it at some point in the future once the CIL is installed.
That's amazing. Those recovery percentages, those are very, very high value. Congratulations on that right there. What if we widen out a little bit here? And we still stay laser focused on Desert Gold, but we widen out to the broader Senegali Mali Shear Zone that has been one of the most talked about corridors in African gold. So drill programs and major activity, we're seeing it. It's everywhere. But here's what I wanted to ask. How have you structured your 2026 drill strategy in Mali to unlock a definitive scale event, not just in incremental ounces? And how should investors be thinking about milestones rather than just the chaos?
Yeah, I mean, without going into the weeds on the specificity of the drill program for each individual zone, what I can say is the drilling in Mali essentially is in two different categories. You have drilling of zones where you have 43101 pit constrained compliant resources, but out of those pit models, you have additional gold zones that are open that have yet to be incorporated into the resource. So let's call these areas where we have higher degrees of confidence that we can step out 150, 200 meters and hit more of that mineralization and add material ounces. And then, and to that extent, there we have 4 or 5 resource areas where we're going to be pursuing exactly that strategy. Areas like Mugia Forest South, Gorbasi West, West North, the Barani East, Barani Corridor. And I'm name dropping not a lot of names, but if you go into our corporate presentation, it'll make sense. It's sort of spelled out pretty clearly. The second category of exploration is more greenfield, where we're either chasing anomalies that are along trend from existing gold zones. And when I say anomalies, I mean golden soil anomalies, golden auger anomalies, where we have like high tenor trends of golden soil at surface, but we haven't had yet a chance to drill test them. Or where we've gone and we've drilled 1 or 2 holes in an area that was interesting, either due to large scale artisanal mining or, like I said, high tenor golden soil anomalies. I'll give you an example, an area called SOA, S-O-A. It's along the Barani East Northeast trend. It sits, I don't know, 7 or 8 kilometers from it. One season we showed up, there was a huge, after the rains, there was a big artisanal mining operation there. we drilled a couple of shallow air core holes underneath it, and we hit, I think it was 2 grams over 30 meters, and that was in a bottom 30 meters of a 45-meter air core hole. And we haven't yet had the opportunity to go back to drill test more there. So we have all kinds of that sort of stuff on the project, but we have to prioritize it as a smaller company and be efficient, and test our best ideas first. So that's what we're going to do. And like I said, the drilling in Mali is both a combination of chasing resources in areas where we have more drilling, more data, higher degree of confidence, as well as testing anomalies that haven't been tested at all or haven't properly been fully tested.
Right.
So it's a bit of a combination.
Totally. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. I mean, you've been quietly building exposure outside Mali with your Tiegba project in Côte d'Ivoire, a jurisdiction that has become increasingly attractive given political stability and mineral potential. So as you think about portfolio construction here at Desert Gold, how does Tiegba complement your SMSC strategy, and how could it be the asset that surprises this market next?
Yeah, I think it could be. Tiegba's interesting. It's more greenfield. It's old Newcrest ground. It sits, in the same district as Bonicro, Agbois, which is Allied Gold's project, soon to be Zijin. It's on a trend known as the Senegali Shear Zone. It's 300 square kilometers, so it's a good regional sized land package. But for us, most crucially, is there's quite a large existing anomaly that sits right along the major trend that goes through the property package. And it was an anomaly that Newcrest delineated some years ago, a soil geochemical anomaly. I think it was 4.5 kilometers long by over 2 kilometers wide. And they never had a chance to drill test it. So we went, we validated it, we stood on it, the anomalies in place. And so we know we're sitting on top of some type of gold system. And the real question is, what is it? And so we're going to drill test it. So I like that type of exploration. It's really exciting because it represents the potential for brand new discovery. And then the other 80% of the permit has never been prospected. So we'll do the prospecting and gradually move it up the development chain as we go. So to answer your question, to be clear, we plan on drill testing that main anomaly in the first half of this year, and we're going to be flying a aeromagnetic drone survey in March over the anomaly first, and then we'll drill test it as soon as we get the results from that.
Well, it sounds all really exciting. I love the fact that there's so much progress happening. There's so much positivity coming out of your projects, and it just, you called it way earlier that there's just really watch. There's going to be a lot of M&As coming out of that, and we're seeing that with the big players. And congratulations on your new big neighbors as well. That's phenomenal news for you guys.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. Yeah.
Now, thank you again so much. Definitely do come back and we can unpack this a little bit further and just look at a broader view on some more education around the sector as well and in your region. So thank you again.
Thanks a lot, Lindsay. Thanks for having me.
Again, that was Jared Scharf, CEO of Desert Gold, trading on the TSX Venture under DAU and in the Frankfurt under QXR2. And you can learn more at desertgold.ca. Now, let me leave you all with this. If the story of gold in 2026 is about capital discipline, technical execution, and jurisdictional opportunity, then the real question isn't whether a company has projects. The real question is whether those projects are funded, whether they're advancing meaningfully, and positioned in belts that reward discovery with real value. Something to think about, and this is one of those stories you should keep on your radar. I'm Lindsay Melchek, your host of the Market Frontlines, right here with Apaton Media. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again.